So it's been many minutes since we last left off, and I had to look at my email here. I got an email from Jennifer Bowler that says this right down here, and I had to rewrite it as I have to rewrite a lot of stuff. And actually, let me show you a couple things about that. In the new news, I had read that last. I wouldn't always make this mistake. I kind of made a mistake. I should have looked at that earlier. It was junior since the ASB window will be closed Friday, February 28th. $35 junior prom ticket sales will be, well, $35. I had rewritten this. $35 ticket sales for junior prom will be extended through Monday, March 2nd. Prices will increase Tuesday, March 3rd to $40. So we did that, and we jump over here to continuing news. And at the bottom here, I had put in junior prom. That was the simple one. So I need to delete that one, obviously. And then also I noticed that I accidentally had the FBLA in twice, probably because the order of the daily bulletin. And so it's up here. That's good. I kind of rewrite something sometimes. This one says, I rewrote that down below. Please help our fellow students in the state competition in April by purchasing something from them today. That's what I said last time. So let's replace it with this one, where it says, please help support this club so we can send our fellow students to state competition in April. Just trying to mix it up how it's said. Not that big of a deal. You don't really have to do that, but sometimes I get tired of hearing the same stuff over and over again. Okay, so that's everything placed in place. I haven't created the graphics yet. I'm going to click here on CTV again, and then I'm going to click on export scripts in plain text. Boom, right there. And then definitely do this. See where it says remove text in? Square brackets and carets I take off. I just take it. We don't really use square brackets. So really, you only have to take off carets. But I do everything just to double check I'm doing it right. And then I click download text file. CTV Thursday. I'll drop that to my desktop here. Show in Finder. Double click. Okay, then we have to print this. This is the full text, and we need to give this to our teleprompter. Our TriCaster operator. I'm going to do just Command P on my keyboard, and we print this up. And actually, I make 3 copies total, so I could give one to the TriCaster operator, and then one to each. Actually, you can do 4, depending on what you're doing. One to each of the anchors, and if anybody else needs a practice script, but mostly the anchors, it could help them to get started. Print that right away as soon as possible. I'm going to click cancel on that. It's great if the TriCaster person can highlight actually mostly the graphics, so they make sure they know what graphic is coming next. That really helps out the TriCaster. And also we have to make sure that everything is correct. Once you're done with that, we're going to go ahead, go back to our actual script right there, and then we do teleprompter, and then you could see I could show you those things. The introduction was, let me see if I could open it here. Okay, there's the introduction. It's showing that right up on top. Then we see the curly brackets right there cause it to put red text on a yellow background, and our cams in parentheses do a white background right there. I played around with the order of how I do this, and this seems to be the best order because white below white can be confusing, so I like to separate it up. And then we run down, and let's say we get to somewhere that we need to make a change. This is Black History Month. Let's come down to here. Let's say we make a mistake over here, and we need to make a change, a spelling error or a typo or information's wrong. We come down here and we double click on that, and then it will pop up the script editor for that section right there, and we'll have to scroll along it to find that section, but it opens up this section of your Rundown Creator. Alright, that's everything to do with the teleprompter, and I'm going to create graphics. You already saw the video on how to create graphics. I'm going to create 4 graphics. Then those graphics need to be uploaded through the Finder over to the TriCaster. That piece of information is on Google Classroom as well. How to connect to that? It's the SMB 10.167.3. Something like that, something to that effect. And then once all of that is in there, here's the other things you need to do. So just listen up. You don't have to pay attention to any of this, anything on what's on screen. You need to make sure that all of the battery packs have power. Ask them to turn their power on and to make sure that they have at least 3 out of 5 bars. You have to have somebody on the soundboard. The soundboard, by the way, the soundboard needs to be turned on. The TriCaster needs to be turned on. There's 8 switches in the second studio where we do the anchors. There's 8 light switches towards the back against the wall that need to be turned on. There's a power strip with a blue button that needs to be turned on. A power strip next to the camera in the green screen room. It's dangling from the ceiling. It's got a red button. You got to turn that on. Then there's a light right off stage that needs to be turned on. Once everything's on, the TriCaster operator is going to be running the TriCaster. They need to take all the graphics that have been uploaded to the TriCaster computer, and they needed to pop that in place in order. In GFX1 will be all the left graphics, all the graphics labeled with left, and the GFX2 on the right side of the computer, all the graphics need to be loaded in the right order on the right side. The left side in DDR1, you want the opening graphic and the closing graphic sequence, which eventually we're going to change, and you want to delete everything else just so nothing's there. Have them delete that. On the right side, the DDR2, you need to have them the TriCaster person put the graphic that has to do with the history if you're going to do a special report, and that also has the background for the sports report. They have to press play when that's running. There's a buffer on the right side. In buffer number 3, I believe it is, the TriCaster person should know. They have to change the lower thirds for the sports reporter, so make sure that the sports reporter's name is correct. That should be the first one. The second, third, fourth, and fifth, we have 4 today, 4 sports, and they will type this information in, and how they will do it. It will say, well, actually, they'll know how to do it. Just make sure that it says baseball at Rio Lindo, and then below that it's going to say Thursday for today. Thursday away game, softball versus Mesa Verde on the first line, and then Thursday home game, etc., etc. Make sure these ones say Friday, and make sure this one says Friday and Saturday right there in that particular case. And then once all that is in place, we need to test the audio. So you have all of your 4 people, or however many people you have, starting with Anchor 1, Anchor 2, Special Reporter, and Sports Reporter. If we have a Special Reporter, Sports Reporter. You have them do a test in their microphones. You want them to talk at volume that they'd be talking at when they're actually doing the show. And they can count to 10 or whatever you want them to do, but they have to do it at volume. The person on the soundboard needs to make sure that the sound is coming through. The person on the TriCaster should record that brief segment and play it back to make sure that all mics are working. Then we do a rehearsal of the show, record the rehearsal of the show, always record the rehearsal of the show. Then when we have a rehearsal of the show put in, we're going to make any changes we need to in Rundown Creator. If the script is wrong, we need to go back in and fix it. And then we actually do a show in rehearsal and in the actual show. Do not stop unless it's a complete meltdown, or there's, let's say, something's completely wrong about the graphic during the rehearsal. You should be watching all the graphics and make sure the graphics are correct. I had a mistake the other day where the text was correct and it said that an event was from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and the graphic said 9:30 to 12:30. So that was an issue, and you'd have to go back and create the graphic. So there's that. There's everything you need to know. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm not trying to get you on this one. I'm not trying to shoot you down, but I want you to understand how much work I personally do before I get in there. And then we have 40 minutes to do the show. And more often than not, it takes us from 6:40 from the time you guys get in. I've already turned on the equipment by that point. So I've already started. I've already started about 6:25. I've already started everything. But 6:40, you get in there, you start the show, you're telling me half an hour. I'm saying good luck to you. I'm there to help you as much as possible, with the exception of actually doing it for you on the day that you run it. Okie dokie. Good luck.